All right, welcome. We're doing episode 3 today in the studio. We have Ty Cannon, and this is only our third episode, Ty. So thank you for showing up and popping in.
Thanks for having me.
Ty's a last-minute guest again. Like I was just texting people last night saying we're going to try this, play with doing these, and go ahead and shoot these. So Ty and I actually have worked together for a couple years now, or almost a couple years now. I met Ty when I was about to go into something called Warrior Week. And I actually met Ty way before that. I actually met Ty through a guy named Dr. Nick Delgado, who's a super guru on anti-aging and everything. And Ty and Nick would do different things together, and we'd be at different events, and Ty and I would meet at other random different events too. And then, so when I was about to go into this thing called Warrior Week, one of the things they do is there's different fights or whatever, right? And I am not, and my old story was, I'm not a fighter. Right. That was my old story, literally. So when I started with Ty, I've never really trained in boxing or any really fight training or MMA stuff. I've got a ton of friends who are like super hardcore boxers, super hardcore MMA fighters, like just dynamic. But I've never trained myself. I always kind of said, oh, that's for them. That's not me. And what I was doing was I was eliminating a few keys on the keyboard of life. Like there's 88 keys on a piano. How do we play all of them in our life? We have all these different abilities and all these different strengths. And a lot of times we only say, oh, I only play these keys on the keyboard. Well, I was eliminating some keys on the keyboard here in my life by saying I'm not a fighter. Because inside of us, neither was anyone else who's a great fighter now. They just trained for a long period of time. So I was scared I was going to get the crap beat out of me. And I ended up even though with the one, I did like one lesson before I went in there with Ty, thinking that would help. You know, it did, because I knew I could at least take a punch, probably. And then I literally got knocked down 3 times in the ring. Like the guy just clocked me, I went down. I got back up, round 2, clocked, knocked down again. I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, this sucks, and I gotta go again. And the whole time, before even getting into the ring, I'm like freaking out, sweating, perspiring, stressing myself out about this fight that we had. Now, fast forward 18 months later, same event, same different, not the boxing ring, but even more intense. Like you're either on a mat wrestling, you're running through a gauntlet of guys just knocking you and hitting you and all kinds of crazy stuff. And it's a challenge, right? Totally different person showed up that time. I was a totally different person. The training had actually paid off what Ty and I had been doing, where I wasn't afraid of getting hit anymore. I wasn't afraid of taking a punch. I wasn't afraid of taking a kick. I wasn't afraid of getting hurt. And the cool thing that Ty teaches is fight training is only one aspect of your life, but everything you do and how you respond in intense pressure that you kind of have in fight training translates into every other area of your life. So how I showed up in that fight was different from before. I'm willing more now to collide with people than I was then, because Ty had taught me these principles, how to react under pressure. So how to breathe through the stress of life, how to move and not waste time, not waste energy by doing a bunch of extraneous activity just to do what is needed in that moment. So Ty, if you want to just go in and share like the journey you've taken me through and like all the things you've taught me. Ty's a guru, master, martial art guy in 26,000 different things, and he knows the Bruce Lee 1-inch punch. So go Ty.
So yeah, when you show, we work on a lot of different levels, but you're bringing up the fighting and everything else, and people kind of really get a big misconception about what some of the deeper levels are all about. What I discovered over years of coaching people is that every aspect of your personality comes out through physical expression. I was coaching a group of women from an office one day, and they're in my studio, and I took them through some pretty intense focus pad drills where they're kicking, they're punching, they're moving around, and it's as close to the pressure of a fight as you're going to feel without really getting hit. And I took each one of them through it, and we got to the end of it, and I went around and talked to each of the women, and I said, I singled out one of the women, and I said, you are not afraid of anything. And in fact, you're the first person in the office to jump into the fight. However, you jump in too soon, and then when you come up against something you can't handle, you shut down completely and become completely disempowered by whatever you're dealing with. You know, and the girl pops up, she goes, oh, that's right, you know, that's her. And I said, yeah, but now you, on the other hand, you handle pressure amazing. However, you know it. And you tend to let little things build up over time, and they get bigger and bigger and bigger. And you're constantly having to sort out huge problems that are very big problems that you didn't need to because you didn't deal with them soon enough. Yeah. You know, I'm going through it and I'm showing everybody these things, and they're going, well, how do you know this? And you know, I'm going, well, how is it that everybody else can't see this? I've been doing martial arts and training people so long that I just started making these associations. And what I found is with building with people is that if you take them through this, you teach them how to stand there and be present. It's not about fighting, it's about handling pressure. And that same pressure that you feel in the ring, you know, when we're training under controlled circumstances, you know, when you're flinching and you're wanting to turn away, but if you learn to just stand there and be present, observe what's happening, make it, you know, and decide how you want to deal with it, those same feelings happen like when your spouse starts hitting that one subject that just makes you want to shut down and you don't want to address the things in your relationship, or dealing with things with your employees. You know, I hear this all the time from people. There's just circumstances they don't want to do. They don't know how to deal with the problem up front, and they end up having to fire people that, you know, they probably could have handled beforehand. Correct. And this happens in every aspect. So once you identify that feeling in the ring, so to speak, make that association and work it out in the ring. If you don't do anything else, it will just ripple out and it will just start correcting itself. You know, and that's a lot of what we've done, and you've done such an amazing job, and it's really been a privilege to work with you. There was an interview with James Coburn. He was talking about Bruce Lee, and he said Bruce Lee was a man who holds himself to the highest standard of his own self-evolution. And you know what that means is it's like we talk a lot about always being a little bit better than you were the day before. And we hear this in our NLP training and our motivational coaching and everything else. And people will go out and they go to their seminar and will do really well, but then we kind of tend to slip back. And when you hold yourself accountable to your own self-evolution, it's like once you achieve something, you hold yourself there and you don't let yourself slip back. And over the years of working with you, I mean, you've really held yourself to that standard, you know, better than most of the people that I've trained over the years. So it's really made it a lot of fun to work with you.
So I like that, like this whole evolution thing, and then holding yourself, like, cause this is hard, man.
It's really
hard. It's really hard because, like, okay, like as simple as I know I got to do a veggie drink every single day. A simple, basic thing that you just have to do every single day that easily gets thrown out the window when you're traveling and you're trying to buy naked juices to cover up for it, or try to find some local place that'll make it, and that's just one little piece. The simple thing of like, how do I get my workout in every day? And it's easy when you're home sometimes, but then if work gets crazy busy, I mean, Bob, like it's just hard. I mean, it literally becomes difficult to pack the workout in. Like I was going to try to meet up with you last night, and then stuff here, and then calls that came in, and an opportunity that I get on this call. Life happens. It just goes, and all of a sudden, like your workout time's gone. You're trying to hold yourself. Thank God I did go paddleboarding yesterday. Right. For an hour in the harbor in Huntington with my buddy Ryan, and cranked it out. Super fun. So I did get a workout in yesterday, Ty, so I can't get in too much in trouble.
And exercise should be fun, by the way.
Yeah, it was super. It was a blast.
I hate the term workout because nobody wants at the end of a long day more work.
Super fun going paddleboarding.
No one looks forward to that.
No. And like, but Ty was teaching last night on how to do the Bruce Lee 1-inch punch. And again, another level of self-mastery. I mean, we keep talking about this, but like this concept is when you first hear it, you're like, what the hell is self-mastery? But I think you just explained it. Like you learn something and then you just hold yourself to that standard. Like a veggie drink every day, or how do you make sure you work out, or how are you making sure that you do different training and different in your life consistently every single day, and then hold yourself to this level of standard. Like that's self-mastery. And then so Ty actually studied under this guy who's famous called Steve Gold.
Steve Golden, yeah.
It's Steve Golden, sorry, apologize. And Ty actually knows how to do like the 1-inch punch of Bruce Lee. But what I love about it though is not just the fact of the 1-inch punch. It's the fact of the explanation of how to do the 1-inch punch and why it's effective. So Ty, I'd love to talk to you because we were just hanging out with Greg Johnson and talking about this, and Ty was explaining what is in the physiology of connecting the mind and body, but actually making sure you're doing the right action at the right moment and not wasting energy to create effectiveness. And then Greg brought up the fact of the book called Deep Work by Cal Newport. And if you get a chance to, I download it on audio and I listen to it, I love the stories in there because it's like, really, how do you make sure you get a lot of stuff done in a short period of time by getting super focused? And that, again, is the 1-inch punch. So love for you to talk about that, Ty, and actually, because this is a great one, explaining it all and why it works and why it's so powerful, and then how it translates in every other area in your life. So.
Okay. Well, what we were talking to Greg about with the punch, he says, well, how does this work? Is it all mental? Well, there's always a mental aspect of everything. But it's really about the kinesiology. And one of the things that Bruce Lee, one of his quotes was, it's not about daily increase, but daily decrease, hacking away everything that's unessential. So when we look at the punch, it's not that we're trying to constantly, hit harder or put more into it, but you're taking away everything that isn't the punch. Every movement. So it's like usually when people go to punch something, they want to rear back, and we load up, and we envision this force that we have to slam into. But all this pulling back and raising up, none of this is the punch. The punch, it's just here, and it's just hitting with that short energy, connecting the body, nothing but forward energy into it. And there's a lot of little pieces to it. But just that philosophy of just learning how to hack away everything that's unessential. When I train people, and I always go off on these long rants, but we're learning how to do the punch, and it's a lot of fun. You move your hand this far and your friend goes flying across the room. A lot of fun at parties. But it's
do not try this at home. I'm just joking.
So but it's if you take the philosophy of behind how you did that and apply it to everything, success is relative. If you know how to be successful at any one thing, you know how to be successful at everything, and this proves itself over and over and over.
So how do people, how do you apply that same philosophy though? I like the idea of stripping everything that's unessential. My life, people say, oh, I must have this crazy life. In some ways my life is crazy, but also it's pretty simple. I literally have one sock drawer. It's either white or black socks. Workout socks or black dress socks, and that's it. I pretty much have blue jeans, blue shirts, brown shoes, to keep it basic. I don't even think about what I wear every day. And it's the clothes are pretty simple. Everything's lined up in the bathroom. Everything's super basic. I try to keep I don't care what I drive, or I just need to get to the office. And I keep everything super basic. The way I take notes, the way my calendar, everything just goes in the calendar. I have to not do any extraneous activity. I just got to make sure every day that the veggie drink is a simple thing. Every day I wake up, work out, veggie drink, supplements, shower, dress, then go to the first appointment. Every day, every day. It's just the same thing every day. And I have to strip away anything that's crazy. I was joking about even email. I only check in the morning and at night.
Yeah.
I don't want to check it all day long. Social media, I have someone else make sure that things are getting people we're responding to happy birthdays and jobs and whatever. So I'm not wasting my time in this area that is not effective for me to be investing my time. So what other areas do you see people that, I don't know, how else does this apply to life?
No, what you're saying, you're talking about the drink, and you're talking a lot about creating rituals, and new patterns of strategies for getting through your day. And
I like that word, strategies.
I went through a period in my life when it's I couldn't keep my truck running. I was always moving a lot because I couldn't keep my rent paid, and I was just so frustrated with my life. And
what was this?
This is going back to late '80s.
Okay.
My friend Bill Shaw, he I told him about I was telling him about this. We were training together. He's a very well-known martial artist, and he goes, I used to be just like you. He goes, I could never keep things going. He was always having a hard time keeping his school going. And he said, I make more money now by the time I answer my first phone call than I used to make all month. And it's because I did this success program. So, I got so, fed up and frustrated that I finally literally took my last little bit of money that I had I mean, I paid off my electric bill, everything else, and I gave I think it was like $130 to Bill. I said, Bill, order me the tapes, right? So he gets the tapes and he comes out and he opens the box up, right? It was the end of class, and he comes out and he reaches in the window and he goes, hang on, he goes, boom, and he plugs the tape into my cassette and he hits play and he goes, I want to be able to tell people I'm the one that put the first tape in your deck, right?
That's awesome.
So it's, and within a few months, I was making more money than I ever made in my life. In less than a year, I was the owner of a Gold's Gym in, Southern California. So, and I did really well, and I was really excited, and I kept sharing this program with all my friends, right? Because you find something and you want to share it, so you're out there like you're born again, come join me, right?
Yes.
And I was always really puzzled why people would get motivated. Oh, that was a really nice program, but it didn't make the difference for them, and it really puzzled me. And I went on this quest for the longest time to figure out, why is this? It didn't make sense. Now, fortunately, I had a chain of health clubs by this time, and I'd hang out at the front desk and people would come in, and if you were successful at anything, if it was in business, if you'd been married for 25 years and were happy, if you were a bodybuilder that was winning, black belt martial arts, if you were successful at something, I was interviewing you.
Yeah.
They usually didn't know they were being interviewed, but I was looking for what sets these people apart. And there's a couple things that I found that make key differences on why is it that people, you go to the big, motivational seminar with Tony or something, right? And most of the people leave really motivated. Not very many of them really keep it going, And one of the things is there's a direct relationship to the way people line up their priorities with their actions. Very successful people have a different way they think about doing this. And I'll give you a really simple example. It's like if I ask somebody, what's your number one priority? They go, oh, my health. Health is number one priority. Great. What'd you have for breakfast today? Oh, I had to skip breakfast because I had to take my friend to the airport, so I just, grabbed a coffee and a scone at, the local coffee shop or something like that. It's like, okay, I respect the fact that you were there for your friend. Your number one health is not your priority. Now, I'm not saying don't take your friend to the airport, but you knew you had to take them. So you could have maybe blended that drink the night before, or, by the way, you can blend a drink and be out the door in 5 minutes with cleanup.
Easy.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I drink my drink on my way to where I'm going all the time. So when people tell me they don't have time to be healthy, it's not true. It does take some education and some planning.
Correct.
So, but lining those making sure that those priorities and those actions line up. People talk about, they want to make a lot of money, but then you look at the decisions they're making throughout the day, and they're buying lots of trinkets and stuff and wasting money and all these other things that they don't need to do. It's not in alignment with their other goal. They feel like they're motivated, they're trying to do the things and go into their seminars, but then their actions aren't really lining up quite right.
So what are the positive examples of their actions lining up? And what does that look like? And what is it that makes them line up? So someone goes to a seminar, they learn something from this stuff. Why do some people listen to those tapes and it collides or makes transformation? Because we were literally, Ty, you missed it, but we were just talking about this with Bob, of like you're the exact example where we were just talking about the episode before with Bob Donnell, where Bob brings up like spending your last dollars to invest in yourself, where that collision, that investment in you knocks you off this course but puts you on a right course and channels and changes everything. Because Ty did own a ton of gyms up in Portland, Oregon area. He's built all kinds of things, done a bunch of things, and I didn't know that I didn't even know that part of the story, Ty. Like that you bought the tape, like this wasn't pre-planned at all.
No.
But it was crazy. It
No,
just lines up with everything we've been talking about today. And doing these podcasts, because you have to invest in yourself. So you invested in yourself and had drastic transformation. Why isn't it working in other people? And what is working? Why does it stick with some people? And why does it work with some people? And why is not other people? Like, what is that?
There's a couple things I want to talk about, and one of them there's a health link to it that I want to come back to.
Okay.
Most of the times that I see people who are able to really drive themselves, they have a very strong reason to do it. It's like you have a much deeper reason to train than just wanting to throw a kick or a punch. I mean, literally, I mean, you're a guy that because I know your backstory very well. Most people that have been through what you've been through wouldn't be walking. You're not only walking, but you're in the ring, you're going, toe to toe. Most people, they need it's usually that thing that hits them in their life that is so powerful it brings them to their knees and it forces them to take action. They have a huge reason to move forward. People are motivated either through what's the saying, our pain pushes us till our passion pulls us. Very few people are motivated by their passions up front. This is something we cultivate. It's that deep-seated survival push that drives people, and we go through life until we have that instance that really pushes us. And I hear people say all the time, it's like, well, if that thing ever happens, I'd rise to the occasion. And I hate to tell you this, it's not true.
If you're not rising every day,
you
will
step
crash.
when that fight comes, and we've all got a fight coming, every single one of us. You step into that ring with only what you have forged into your character leading up to that day.
Correct.
And it's the people that take the time to forge their character over that time that are able to stick with
years and decades can handle.
And it's making those, those daily decisions, building those rituals, and allowing yourself to be driven for a greater purpose. Again, getting out there and I just want to kick or punch isn't enough. You do it when you make that association that you're actually developing your character, your core, and helping yourself to become a better, person, not just, so that you can go beat people up, because most of us are never going to get into a fight anyway, but it does make us more effective at being able to stand up and deal with pressure ourselves and be present and help those that we love around us, because they're going to face pressures too, and it gives you some tools to be able to help them, and guide them through example, which is really all you can do. The words don't do anything.
And the calmliness of it, right? The calm factor that people have. Like, there's a guy that, like even Ty, like, he's just sitting there chilling right now. Look at his body language. He's not trying to post up or anything. He's just chilling. He doesn't look like he's ripped and built and massive size, but I've seen him drop 300 plus pound guys that are just like shredded, look like Arnold, who are just rapidly in shape, and I've just seen him move in like seconds. And it's that skill set, but it's just a calm factor that fight training actually gives you. And the other person I've seen that with this level of like success in his life, in the ability to be in the ring or be able to actually fight, I'm gonna go blank on his name, but he runs a MMA gym in Lake Forest. If you don't know where it's at, you'll never find it. But he's trained some of the top MMA fighters out of Southern California for years. And I just watch him sit like this in the chair. How's it going, guy? I mean, just his body language. He doesn't look jacked or anything, but he's won so many matches. There's belts all around the walls and titles. And it's just this calm factor that, like Ty says, it's when you're under pressure, how are you going to respond? And so one of the challenges that I was challenged with was like to go train for 90 days and actually train 3 times a week in more intense combat training or whatever. And how does that translate into our lives is the question, because it does translate into our lives. It translates in our ability to collide with people, but collide in love. Like if your friend's cheating on his wife and about to destroy his marriage, you're gonna collide, but you're gonna collide in love. If your friend's getting drunk every night and screwing up his life, you're gonna collide in love. If they're eating like shit and ruining their life, it's the ability to collide, but also when the pressure hits and shit's going wrong and people are coming after you, you're just like, okay, I can breathe. And I can handle it. It's okay.
Just learning how to be present.
And you're just being, in that second, in that moment, your fight or flight syndrome's not firing off in every way, but you're present in that moment so you can think clearly, so you can take the action needed to move that situation forward in the right direction that you are choosing. So that's what I loved a lot about, like, we had one session, the whole session, Ty just kept hitting me the whole time, like, just practice hitting me over and over again in, like, different directions. So I don't freak out. I'm just calm now. Not now, if someone hit me extremely hard, I'd probably freak out. I'm not at that level yet, but your body doesn't even react to it. Like at first, Ty would be kicking my legs, and I'd get bruises randomly. Like now he's kicking my legs, and I don't get bruises anywhere from getting hit or getting kicked as much or at all. You know, my body not reacting and responding. And it also goes in the same way when you deal with business or in a relationship. A fight flares up, you're a little bit more calm. I'm not reacting as much in relationships as I once did. Same thing in business. The shit hits the fan, the problems go off. There's always drama, people arguing, there's people disagreeing, but I'm able to be more calm because I took the time to discipline myself in this area. And I'm only a little bit farther ahead than where I was, and hopefully years down the road I'll be much farther ahead. So thank you for
You've
that,
come a
Ty.
long ways.
Thank you, Ty.
You've come a really long ways. So, the other thing I wanted to touch on a little bit too is the importance of the health aspect of it.
In what way? Keep
Well,
going.
it's so important. Again, going back to what Bruce Lee was saying about preparing the body for the event. It is so. It's just critically important to do that. I took the motivational coaching and the things that we've done and the health coaching that we've done, and I took it into an alcohol and drug rehab center.
Oh yes.
And
Done a lot of success there.
increased the completion rate by over 500%.
What's the name of the book you wrote?
Power of Addiction?
Power of Addiction. Yeah, that was a
Power
great
of
book.
Addiction. Yeah, and it talks about it's kind of a brief
We
overview
should
of
have brought a
everything
copy
that we
to
do.
show people, but it's great.
Yeah, I didn't even think about it. I just came by and had a chat.
But we should do that. We need to post that in the thing.
And we can talk about more of that,
Yeah.
maybe another time. But where I want to go with this, and this relates to everybody, and that so many of the things that we get down on ourselves about, willpower, why did I do this? Why am I not blending my drink or whatever your thing is, going for that jog, is, we blame it on our willpower. And let me give me an example. Have you ever had the flu? Of course. You're up all night, you're in the bathroom. Finally, the alarm goes off. You finally wake up in the morning. Do you want to go jogging? No. Does that have anything to do with willpower? Not remotely. You've got to have you have to have the energy and the mental drive, on a physical level to get up and do these things. I don't care whether you're trying to, just get up and do well for your company, be present in your relation. You want to try and have a successful relationship when you feel sick all the time? Good luck. It's hard. How can you bring your A game to that? 100%. You can't. Or trying to get off heroin. It's the same thing. First thing I want to do with somebody is restore your body to its optimal place of health so you have a solid foundation to build from. Then we can start accomplishing things. So we've got to do that first. And it starts with simple things, removing the inflammatory foods, blending up that drink the way we teach to do it, getting your hormones balanced out. Well, in the first place, know where your hormones are even at. Most people are absolutely clueless. It's interesting, I talk to business groups, right? And I'll ask people, I do a thing, I go, how many people here are goal-orientated, right? And everybody looks at me like I'm an idiot because it's like, well, of course we're goal-orientated, we showed up.
Yeah.
It's like, and I'll point out, okay, so that was a dumb question.
Mm-hmm.
Let me ask you another question. How many people know your hormone levels? It's like now no one's raising their hand
100%.
because they don't know. So why is that relevant? I can take, I could run a panel on a room, I can go sit in the back and I can flip through those panels. I can tell you who all the most successful people either are or are going to be by reading those panels.
100%, yeah.
So
You see by the energy levels.
Absolutely. So, this is a big reason why someone goes to the big motivational seminar and they're all revved up there, but they couldn't keep the momentum going.
The energy.
They couldn't keep it. That drive, that type A success drive that you have it, but you don't know how to hang on to it. It's hard to get out of bed. It's hard to step up. It's hard to be present for that meeting. The brain fog is there. You just want to go
100%.
home. You're going to the gym. You're working out, but you're looking at your watch. These are all signs of hormone imbalance. We address these symptoms and then do the things to get that body to its optimal state of health. Then all these practices that we learn from our motivational coaching and from our other training and things like that really start to take effect. And these things start becoming easy.
Well, that's exactly
And
it.
it should
like,
be easy.
Yeah,
if it's
100%.
not, if it's not easy, then you need to do a check and go, look, why
Yeah.
isn't this working for me? You know, and don't blame it on your willpower or things like that. Let's get to the bottom of it and find out why it's not working. Because when it's right, it'll be easy.
And things start churning.
Yes.
Right? I mean, like, yeah.
And then once you get one thing, then we had another thing.
Body first.
Yes.
Then being, then your balance, then your relationships. You got to work in your body first, and your mindset, and then your relationships in your life. Then you work in your business. And
Right.
and I feel like we do things backwards sometimes. We do the work, and then we get in the prison of life until we get to the, as Greg was talking about. But it's like if your body's not functioning, everything else is crashing. Like that's what happened to me. I mean, that's why
All
I'm
of it.
so passionate.
Right.
And same thing with the hormone levels. Like mine were down to 100.
Right.
Like testosterone down to 100 at 35 years old or something. Like I was crashing.
Right.
And people aren't willing to do all the stuff and take all the action, give it to the unnecessary stuff, and say this is what I need to do, and I need to put all my energy here, like the 1-inch punch, where you just, you're putting all your energy to work in your body first, so you have the energy and the physical capacity to actually sustain in business. And like and everybody you talk to, one thing we were talking about Scott Duffy earlier, right? And Scott wrote in this book, I can't think of the name, like 30 Days to Launch, or called Launch. And one of the things Scott wrote in there, the number one thing that a CEO must do is work out. And the number one thing if you're going to start a company is already be in physical health first, because you're going to deplete the shit out of your life. If you're launching anything, you're building anything, doing anything impactful, you've got to get in good health. And I have had to devote an immense portion of my life to try to figure out, okay, how do you increase testosterone? How do you get rid of the estrogen levels? What are the natural supplements you can do to take this? And that's where we have the common interest of like working with Dr. Nick and all these other amazing functional medicine doctors of like,
Right.
how do you really transform this area of your life? You got to do the workouts in the morning. You got to get out in the sunlight and try to get like all these little biohacks that truly transform us and start building lean muscle mass and having the energy, so you can like literally get rid of the brain fog, where you can actually sit down and be like, I'm calm. I can sit and look at a book and actually read this information, actually learn it, and then actually apply it to my life to create true transformation. And I think that's where a lot of people skip over that. They're trying to build all this stuff and they just don't do it. So what are some of the things, Ty, that you recommend, like where to start, or go for it?
Here's the thing, and this is just talking about you specifically, and why I know this is one of the huge reasons why you're so successful in the things that you take on, is because it's like you didn't just like go, oh, I'm going to adjust my hormones, and it's like, okay, I got the kit and I got some supplements, I'm going to take that this month and go on and forget about it. You go through it, you take it, you check how you feel, and then when that's not giving you results that it once was, then you sit back, take a look at, wow, that's interesting. Why am I feeling this way?
100%.
And upgrade your information. If you were going to go out and my fight analogies, right? You get out there and you're going 1-2 hook, 1-2 hook, right? And then every time you do that, the guy, tackles you, right?
Yeah.
Well, you're not going to keep doing that. You got to step back and go, hey, 1-2 hook worked over here, but today it's not working. I need to step back and reevaluate my approach. So it's like, as long as something's serving you, use it. When it stops serving you or the results aren't, coming as they were, then you reevaluate and upgrade, your technique and your strategies. And that way you don't get stuck. And I want you to do this constantly, not only with your health, but, we've had a lot of conversations about business strategies and other things too.
Everything.
And you're constantly reevaluating and not letting yourself get stuck. There's a constant state of growth. Again, holding yourself to the highest standard of your own self-evolution. And in order to do that, you have to give yourself permission to consistently grow, which is scary. Growth is always uncomfortable. So you have to really, focus in on that and be okay with being uncomfortable once in a while.
Yes. So
we don't like that.
No, growth is uncomfortable. Getting hit in the head is uncomfortable.
Okay, I got to say something on that. When we do this, it's light because you have to go to meetings after the session. So I'm not.
No, it's good.
People are picturing me sitting there taking.
No. It's still just like tapping, but like I was like, and you react, right? But that's what I've done. I have to go get blood work every 3 to 4 months. In that blood work, I do a full panel analysis of myself. I figure out where my testosterone is, vitamin C levels, vitamin D levels, like literally everything you possibly can do a full panel on. I try to do now because I have to really make sure, do I need to add more vitamin D? Do I need to take any DHEA or any pregnenolone? Like, do I do more of Dr. Nick's? He's got the estrogen block supplements to reduce estrogen levels, which cause a lot of problem in men. Like, people are not addressing the estrogen level in men. A lot of people are giving testosterone shots to people. I got a guy literally called me 7 days ago. He's 35.
Right.
He's got testosterone grade shots they're giving him, and the doctor went right to that. They're not doing anything for his estrogen levels or anything.
This is
the medical doctor and the medical community is destroying this guy's life at 35. He's still tired. He still has energy issues, and because he doesn't know all the practical application stuff, and that's what we want to try to offer you and try to get some of this. And if you guys need any help, contact me, direct message Ty, find us on Facebook, anywhere you want, because we're willing to take the time, to at least a 5 or 10 minute or 15 minute introduction to explain like what we did in depth. Yeah. If you've got a question, ask, please, because I had to spend a lot of time and a lot of money to find these answers that people just don't know. And I had grown up my entire life with a dad who was a chiropractor. He was a neurologist. He was an internal medicinist. He was a clinical nutritionist. I'd been exposed to this world and been around the health and nutrition world, and I still didn't know all these different things. I mean, I went to different seminars on pure health and like try to read books, but like until you're really in depth and know what action to take, when to take it, and how to take it, and you're guided by someone who's a true expert, you will not get the same level of success. And just because they're a medical doctor doesn't mean they know really anything about it. It's like a specialty. You've got to find people that are specific in hormone levels, specific in men's health specifically, people that have actually walked other people through this and had true success. And that's why getting access to guys like Ty here, right? Ty's got actually a nutritional consulting program that he actually works with a lot of people. He'll prick your fingers and look at your blood and see what's in your blood. They have all these different health analysis. They can do tests where they get you all food allergies and food insensitivities and really order the panels. And Ty's great. We got a whole great group in this community. We got Dr. Michael Grossman right down the road. We've also got Glenn Depke right down the road here. And we're all sharing, and Dr. Nick Delgado, we're all sharing and looking at information from different angles for the person, because one person may pick up something, another person may miss something else. So, Ty, I think we probably should wrap this up. We don't go too long. Yeah. But thank you so much for coming.
Oh, thanks for having me.
What else would you want to leave? Words of Ty wisdom? Boom, mic drops.
I'd like to just comment on one of the big things that I do with people when you sit down is I spend a lot of time to educate people. And this topic that you were just on, I mean, apply it to everything that we talked about. But it's like any of my clients, it's not about, I can tell you what you need to do. I want you to be able to look at your own panels and your own things and actually understand what's going on. So take the time to get educated. Yeah. It's every bit as important as doing your exercise, your diet, but that education part is really important, and you can handle it. You can handle being educated. It doesn't mean that you're going to be your own doctor, but you need to be able to have an intelligent conversation with him, and you need to know when your doctor's maybe when you need to go get a different one.
Because not every doctor is going to be an expert in everything.
They're not. And I see things all the time that are terrifying. You were talking about the testosterone, the estrogens, and I see it all the time. Oh yeah, my doctor's got me on, they're doing implants and things like that for the testosterone and giving absolutely nothing to control downstream estrogens. You're increasing this guy's cancer risk, and then they feel good for, a little while, but then, they start dropping off, and then they have the fatigue issues because they're not addressing the catabolic side of it. And all this thing needs to come into balance. Again, balance in every aspect of your life, from your hormones to your relationship to your work to everything. I just had a client today I was talking to, when you get into your 40s, you have to really take some time and start redefining success. I have people all the time, they've got the money, the car, the pretty girl, and everything else, and they just sit down and they go, what the, what's it all for?
100%.
And, you gotta, just kind of take it all to a deeper level. I can go on another big long rant here. I know we're running out of time.
It's good. So let's wrap this one up today.
Okay.
The takeaways from Ty, one is the 1-inch punch. Not exerting effort when you don't need to. Like, where in your life are you exerting effort when you do not need to be doing this.
Right.
Where is your health really at? Like, do you really know? Are you really educated? Are you really putting your body first so you can accomplish those goals, so you can actually have the energy to apply the principles you're learning from whatever motivational seminar or self-help or whatever area you're learning in? Like you're going to these courses, you need the energy to build your finance business or build your whatever company you're building or whatever church you're building or whatever life you are trying to build. Like, do you have that energy and fire to really go? How are you taking time to do some type of fight training in your life so you A, can protect yourself in case anything happens, and at least try or at least have the knowledge of it, and B, just for the general benefits you get from it, because when the way you fight or the way you learn, you see how you react, handles, and translates and everything else, and how you can collide and change the way who you are. And two, what are you doing to get your testing done for your health? Are you actually going quarterly and really modifying and refining things? And last but not least, contact Ty if you want to have any more information about all this stuff. So thanks everybody for watching. Thanks Ty for being here. And we're going to wrap this up. And onwards and upwards, people. So thank you, Ty. Thank you, sir. Thank you.